Hey yo, what's going on, the poor? Welcome back to another video of Truly Poorly Explained. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've had a lot of thinking about the last few days, and I'm like, what the hell is this physics thing? I've been learning about it in school a lot, and I'm like, what even is this stuff? So I looked into it a little bit more, and in the last zero point 0.3 nanoseconds, I figured out all this crazy stuff that I need to share with you guys. And starting with that is the origins of this quantum physics thing that's going on here. And these quantum physics that I've been learning about, they've come to me in a series of stages. Way back in the 1500s, my good old friend Isaac Newton, he had an apple fall on his head, and he was like, "Let there be physics." And then there was some physics, but they had a little bit of a problem there, and the fact that the physics was like continuous and whatnot. Like if I run from here to my wall over there, I'll eventually hit the wall, but it'll be a continuous run until then. But these guys were like, no, 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 no. There's actually a specific distance that you hit, and then you've actually traveled. And I was like, what the heck does that mean? So obviously, I got to state right out the gate that I do not agree with this quantum fluidism stuff that's going on here. But we do have to explain it because a lot of people agree with this, pure fantasy. I think we should all go back to believing that the universe was created in about 2.5 milliseconds from a soup of cats. It's a really promising origin story, I promise you. And the Earth is flat. Don't forget. Anyhow, guys, we're going to be starting off with a good explanation here of exactly what a light is. When the light from that big old fat thing in the sky reaches here, we tend to think, what's that thing coming into my eyes? I don't want it in my eyes. I want to go to sleep. And you'd be right, because that stuff is actually the byproducts of electro and magnetism, which is not a very good thing in my opinion. When all those magnets stick to your fridge, you're like, oh shoot, this is some wizardry over there. You can't be having wizardry in the world. So this is actually a very evil dark magic. Do not trust it. It's actually done by these photons things, and they're actually discrete units of light or whatever. And the problem with that is when has anything ever been discrete? So quantum physics just disproven right there. No circular arguments involved. Next, we have to explain the next force in nature, which is apparently this thing called gravity. And this one actually makes sense to me. It's like what's down is down, what's up is up. I think that's what it's saying. And I have to agree with that one. Actually, a very agreeable opinion there by gravity. Mr. Grav E.T., he's a very good friend of mine. So when he founded this theory, I was like, damn, bro, that's a really good theory. Has not changed in the modern day. Not gonna lie to you. Now we must move on to my favorite of these so-called forces. I mean, what are they gonna do? Force us to go down? If I wanted to go up, I could. I've explained this before. It's all a matter of choice. It's only a choice if you want to obey the laws of physics. All right, they're more guidelines than laws, honestly. So it's this thing called the strong nuclear force. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. But apparently it's this thing inside, the things that does stuff. And all I remember is I think this is where color comes from, because there's these charges inside of them. They have these, color thingamabobs. And with these color thingamabobs, they kind of attract each other, but there's an anti-color which they also attract. So it's they're attracted to the anti-color and to the other colors. So it's just they hate themselves basically. If a green guy sees another green guy, it's like, oh, blue guy sees another blue guy. They're actually chill like that. So not that bad. But if they see an anti-blue guy, they're like, oh yeah, no, that's who I want to be around. And they're like, wah! But it only works at extremely short distances. So if you go really far away from each other, they're just gonna be like, oh, whoa, there's a guy over there. Sorry, going through a rough patch, can't hear you. And that's just how it be. Now we get to my least favorite of the forces. I think it's the nuclear force. I don't really understand how it's going on. To be honest, it was so weak that I didn't even think about including it here. In fact, I won't. It needs to go to the gym. That's my advice for it. Something about beta decay. Honestly, we need to update it to some sigma decay. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's about it for the explanations of the forces of the universe and whatnot. That's really all anyone needs to know. I know these so-called scientists think that their so-called science is, so-called great because, it's so-called. I don't really understand what they're talking about there. Now, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section above or below. I don't care. Dislike my video if you want. Kick me from YouTube. Actually, I will care about that because I need to reach my 11 universe audience members. Just as much as these neutrinos do. I forgot to mention the neutrinos. They're such. Who cares? Like, there's like a million of them passing through me right now, apparently. I don't believe that because, nothing could pass through. I'm an unmovable object. I think that's how it goes. An impenetrable force meets an unmovable object, I think. Something like that. And, how could they be going through me? That's just not possible. And there's also this Higgs boson thingamabob. It was discovered in 1923, and it's like that's like super recent. That was like 2 days ago, and people are already like, "Oh man, how do we know it exists?" And we don't know it exists. We just see these like numbers on the machine. It's like, "Oh, that could only be predicted with this thing," except the prediction's actually wrong. Except it's right. Except no, I don't know. It's my sandwich got in the machine. I don't know. It was my sandwich. It was my sandwich. Anyhow, guys, I think that wraps it up for this explanation of the physique laws. People really need to just understand that this type of stuff is, the truth, nothing but the truth, and there's no holes in any theory. Everything that we know matches perfectly with observation. Please do not attempt to, find out anything more about the universe, because that will all just come up fruitless. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Don't let those neutrinos get to you, man. Don't do it.